good people? Sanjay Uchiha here and welcome back to the channel. Of course, it is time for the manufacturer of the Isshiki wine. Manga readers know it's that time. Boruto episode 215, and of course Isshiki just got done fighting Koji in the last 2 episodes, and of course naturally is about to head to Konoha for his round 2 face-off against Naruto and Sasuke. So this is going to be very interesting to see how they adapt this material, especially since I know a number of persons have been they were disappointed with how, you know, Koji versus Isshiki went in the anime. Not that because the animation was bad, but it was just alright, and I think persons really expected more, including myself. So it is what it is. But hope you guys are having an awesome day. Of course, leave a like if it's your first time, or even if it's not your first time, but if it is your first time, definitely subscribe. Of course, we do Boruto content and other miscellaneous foolishness, so yeah. But anyway, I've talked on long enough. It's time to get into this episode. Alright, so here we go. Daikokuten. Thinking back on it, didn't his legs get crushed too in the manga? Because it's just his hand, his left hand here, right? So, oh, left arm and flank has been crushed. Cool. Okay, there we go. So they answer it already. Yo, fresh. Yes, the Isshiki wine. We have no plan, bro. You know what I love again, and I think I've been saying this the last 2 weeks, that I mean, it's only natural that any manga benefits from being animated. That should be the natural, you know, course of action, or, you know, the natural benefit. But at least with this, no, because again, I didn't reread the chapter, but you could see that Naruto, like, just even that little sweat drop is like he's trying to do his duty as a father, as the Hokage as well, but at the same time, he doesn't really have a plan to really beat Isshiki per se. You know what I mean? He's just really trying to do his duty, even though in himself he's not really 100% sure how this thing is going to go down. That's the kind of feeling I get just looking at Naruto from this frame here. Yo, Dan's just afraid of everything, brother. But I like how they're showing how they actually get there compared to the manga. Because in the manga, I got the impression that this only would have been Sai, Sumire, and Amado and Katasuke to go down there while Naruto just heads out. Oh, Zing, Kakashi, and Tsunade come on for vacation finally. Yo, but I like, voila. Yo, but those are right though. Persons who want to see Rock Lee fights are just complaining already just to have him on screen here, so now the nothing, isn't it? It's just rough. It's just rough, honestly. It's like, oh, let's show these old characters not helping out. I mean, granted, there's only so much they could do against Isshiki, but it's just funny, honestly. But I guess it makes sense to at least, compared to the manga, show these characters who could at least help with the evacuation. Kind of helps to kill time, pad out things, especially since we're getting closer and closer to the manga catching up. So yeah. Show some spirit, right? No, look for somebody, man. This somebody for the far left. Look for him. It's like, man, yeah, we're ready for take on the Isshiki, isn't we? No, dog. Honestly, tell them already. Know them need the ramen guy. Siege of the Seven Bowls. You know, despite this having the extra aim of really padding out the episode, I like it. I like it, but I'll explain in the review section. But I'm wondering if they'll have like some of these old characters fight Isshiki as extra material. Like sure, all these are any of these characters going to fight Isshiki as well, or what? And we're here, sightseeing in the leaf. Should probably stop at the ramen stand before. No, look at this, my dog. Man's like floating and just with your hand on his side. Yo, nah, I care about her. No, Jesus, they're actually having Choji, Tenten, Lee, and Kiba fight. Yo, what up? Really for this? It's can't real, brother. Yo, alright. But let me just continue this. Yo, Isshiki is like, yo. And they don't really show the fights. I don't remember Sarah. Yeah, this is new too. Oh well, well shit. Who would have saw? Who would have seen this coming? Oh, so he basically one shot them. Wow. Yeah. I kind of like this shot. This kind of tilted. 6 parts TLV stage mode. Even though this is not gonna do nothing, but yeah. Stop it. Yeah. Switch. Mr. Outer Chakra posing. Alright. Alright. You know, it just looked odd with him just kind of in the ear for so long. Oh, now this place looks pretty chill. Alright, so just in case the recording for the reaction section got messed up, just in case, I don't know, because I haven't reviewed the footage or started editing as of starting this part of the recording yet. My apologies, but but that's it. We have Boruto episode 215 in the bag, and honestly, the stage is set for round 2 with Naruto and Sasuke versus Isshiki, but this time we have Boruto in the mix, which should make for an interesting development. Now, again, this episode is an interesting one because I think we'll get to see more interesting additions like we got in this episode as we go along, because manga readers know for the most part we're getting closer and closer to the... I mean, the latest chapter is what, 61? The events of this chapter are what, chapter 49, 50, give or take, so we're getting really close. So the thing is, as we get closer, we can expect more interesting additions like what we had with like Lee, Tenten, Konohamaru, and all those characters going up against Isshiki in this episode. So Definitely that. Now, of course, starting from the beginning, again, this episode, the content for this episode definitely benefits from being animated, from, the positives of seeing certain characters' facial expressions, getting a read on how they feel through just how they physically look during their dialogue. For example, in this episode where we had Boruto and Naruto kind of debating if Boruto should join in the fight or not. Little additions or little things like that actually bring out the, I guess, the charm, for lack of a better term, in the content, which I definitely like. Now, of course, and I keep saying this, a lot of the interesting additions are things that they've added since this arc has started, well, since the last arc, definitely helped flesh out the material. But as we get closer to the manga, and now it feels like they're definitely padding out the episode, but not in a bad way, because it's the things that help to showcase how, like how certain events progress in the manga. For example, in the manga, it's kind of it's a kind of vibe where you go from point A to point B, like you just skip. You don't get to see the in between. So even things like seeing how they got to the underground bunker, the site, the Black Ops site, that's that can ward off the Byakugan apparently. We didn't really see them walk down there in the manga. It's kind of like point A, point C, and we kind of skip point B. So that was good, and to kind of get a bit of, I guess, interesting quote-unquote lore that only Naruto can actually open that. So that was interesting. Now, what I like about this episode in terms of the padding out and the additional material, of course, getting to see old characters is nice, like Tsunade, Kakashi, and see Shikamaru make this whole speech that he's not really prepared for this fight, and seeing Lee and all these characters, it kind of makes it feel a bit more inclusive, can I say so myself? Because the thing is, when it comes down to the manga version of this, it felt like such an isolated event, and I always make jokes because of that, saying that Kakashi's on vacation, Tsunade's on vacation, they're tired of the shit, they're tired of living in Konoha because Konoha is always getting invaded. So looking at it now, or comparatively speaking, it just felt really odd that we'll just be attacked. Oh, Tsunade, Kakashi, nobody else cares? Nobody? Lee? Anybody else from the old generation? No. So I think even though I can see persons complaining about potentially having Lee, Tete, and these characters one-shotted, I mean, they're not really included in the anime a lot, and for them to be included at this point where they can just easily get one-shotted, like they're no big deal. Well, compared to Isshiki, yeah, they aren't. But I can see persons potentially complaining, but I think the positives outweigh the negatives in terms of including them and making it feel a bit more inclusive, and it just makes more sense to have these characters actually make an attempt on Isshiki, because again, it just felt like the Naruto and Sasuke show in the manga, and is like, okay, where's everybody else? So I think it just makes more sense, and it kind of adds positives to the content at this point in time in the story. So I think it's a welcome addition or change for me personally. So there's that. And of course, it is an excuse to show how the evacuation was actually progressing, etc., stuff like that. So more of the point A, point C, anime adding point B to show things go from like transition. So appreciated in all aspects. So there's that. Now, of course, Isshiki, the man, the myth, the legend, the producer of the Isshiki wine is here, and of course, like, I don't think persons would be complaining too much, considering he already beat Naruto and Sasuke as Jigen. So seeing how he easily decimated everybody that he went up against in this episode, not to be, it's not surprising. And when I think about it, this is a change from the manga, because in the manga he kind of stopped and asked this random Leaf Shinobi who was evacuating somebody in terms of where Kawaki was. So I think in the grand scheme of things, this is I think persons would vibe with this change more. I mean, Isshiki asking and taking out some random Leaf Shinobi versus getting Lee and these other characters screen time, who naturally should be in the village and be involved. So I think it's the lesser of two evils, if I can put it like that. So there's that was a change that just came to mind. Now, I think one of the things that we need to talk about, and this was a major positive for me when I was covering the manga, well, my review on that chapter, when it comes on to Boruto's resolve and just the adding of tension and stakes when it comes on to Boruto, Sasuke, potentially setting up things between them for conflict with the whole Borushiki and Karma threat, and just adding some, I guess, much needed emotional tension or stakes or emotional hurdles for Boruto as a character going into this fight, because of course, again, Boruto's a genius. He doesn't struggle with a lot of things, generally speaking. Of course there are exceptions, but at the same time, the charm and getting to love Boruto as a character more is going to come from those emotional hurdles, emotional, psychological, and just, as I would always say, his life going to shit. It's going to make things much more interesting from his perspective as the main character. So this in the manga was a much needed first step, if I could put it like that, for his character as the main character, for us, the audience, to get much more invested in him. So I definitely like that in the manga, and I liked it here in the anime. And of course it does set things up for, you know, Sasuke and potentially Naruto and other characters to have some emotional conflicts going forward in the story. These are all things that help us as the audience to become much more invested in the story and the fate of the characters and how things are going to go down. So that's the thing. But anyway, we are here, as I said, at the final stage. We're ready to take on Isshiki, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things go. Manga readers know what's coming. So yeah, but anyway, let me know what you thought about my thoughts on this episode. Of course, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me your favorite moment of the episode, the Isshiki wine, and of course order your Isshiki wine, please. So Sanjay Uchiha, hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next Boruto episode reaction review.